So, a couple weeks ago, an anime adaptation was announced for a manga that I'd never heard of. Mii-chan to Yamada-san, also known as Mii-chan and Miss Yamada. And almost immediately, people were pissed. I saw people calling it torture porn on Twitter. Others says that it's irresponsible to adapt this material. Some even argued that stories like this shouldn't exist at all. And if you've watched my channel before, you know that's exactly the kind of thing that gets my attention. And I've talked about media that I think crosses the line. Movies like Midori that in my opinion stop saying anything meaningful, instead become more interested in shocking the audience. So naturally I wondered, was this another one of those stories? So, before we begin, I would like to give a massive shout out and thank you to 8 Rooks for translating the first 15 chapters into English. Without their work, I genuinely wouldn't be able to have read this series, and as of recording this video, I've read through chapter 15. But instead of making one giant 2-hour video, I want to experience this story with you guys. So we're gonna go chapter by chapter. We'll recap what happens, we'll talk about what stood out, and every so often, we'll stop and try to ask a simple question. What is this story actually trying to say? Because I don't think the answer is as obvious as it first appears. So let's begin chapter 1. Our story doesn't begin with hope. It begins with a mystery. It doesn't even begin with our main character. It begins at a grave. Standing there is Yamada-san, quietly praying, not for herself, but for someone named Mii-chan. And before we've even had a chance to meet her, the manga tells us something incredibly important. She's already dead. No plot twist, no fake out, no wondering if she'll survive. We already know how this story ends, which means this isn't a story about what happened. It's a story about how it happened. We rewind back to January of 2012 in Kabukicho. And if you've never heard of Kabukicho before, it's probably the most famous adult entertainment district in all of Japan. It's known for hostess clubs, host clubs, bars, love hotels, and other parts of the nightlife industry. It also has a long history of organized crime and exploitation, making it a fitting place for a story like this. Before I started reading the manga, I wanted to know something. What was the author's intentions? Why Kabukicho? And why set a story about Mii-chan here instead of literally anywhere else? I just really wanted to get to know the author's thoughts, so I did some research. In an interview, Nina Azuki, who is the mangaka who wrote and illustrated Mii-chan, was asked exactly that. She explained, "I wanted to draw a human drama about people who all had a reason for being there. When I thought about a place that was dark, the night city was the perfect setting." I really like that answer, not because it suddenly proves, oh, the manga's good, but because it tells me what the author was aiming for. And then I was wondering, why 2012? And honestly, I thought her explanation on why she chose this year was pretty fascinating. She explained that back then, social media wasn't nearly as widespread as it is today. The nightlife industry felt much more closed off to outsiders, and public awareness of developmental disabilities wasn't nearly where it is now. So she wanted to capture a period where people living with those challenges were often misunderstood, and where the nightlife world felt even more isolated from the public eye. Whether the manga succeeds as that is something we'll be discussing throughout the series, but I think understanding why she chose this time period helps explain the atmosphere that she's trying to create. And also, while researching this series, I kept seeing the same rumor repeated over and over and over again. And the controversy itself is that the author, the mangaka, had worked in the nightlife industry and that she was a pimp and that her manga was based directly on her own life. This is not true. She has stated that she has never worked in sugar dating, sex work, or host clubs, and that rumors claiming that she was a recruiter or a pimp, completely baseless. What she did do was research. She says that she spoke with acquaintances, visited cabaret clubs and host clubs, and spent time walking around Kabukicho to observe the people and the atmosphere. I'm not saying that doesn't automatically make every depiction accurate, but I do think it's important to separate verified information from internet rumors, before we start analyzing the story. Anyway, enough of that freaking yapping. Let's just go ahead and dive into the story. So, we get introduced to the rest of the girls working at the cabaret bar. There's the manager, and then there's Momoka-san. I really hate this freaking woman. Like, she's... You get to see why I hate her so much throughout the series, but I freaking hate her. I hate her so much. Momoka tells Yamada-san that they're getting a new girl today. She's 21 years old, has 0 experience working at a cabaret club, and she's already late for her trials shift, so it's a great first impression. And we meet our main girl, Mikiko, otherwise known as Mii-chan. And right away, it's obvious that she's struggling. She doesn't really understand table etiquette, she's making mistake after mistake, and of course, Momoka is getting more pissed and annoyed. Then this happens. Mii-chan hands a customer a handwritten business card with her real name. Girl. And somehow it gets worse. Yamada finds out that she's using her real phone number, and she's actively telling customers where she lives. Oh my god, my anxiety is just through the roof reading this, I swear to god. Yamada immediately pulls her aside and basically says, hey, maybe don't tell random men exactly who you are and where you live, which, yeah, no crap, that's solid advice. But Mii-chan doesn't understand. She says, it's the name my mom gave me, and she doesn't want to lie. And this is where the manga started to click for me. I don't think Mii-chan is written to be stupid. She's written as someone who genuinely does not understand why these things are dangerous. And there's a difference. And it actually kind of makes it heartbreaking because from her perspective, she's just being honest. After work, Yamada heads home. She stops by a convenience store, grabs dinner, and starts thinking about everything that has happened. And she realizes in one single night, she has constantly lied to customers over and over again. But it's just part of surviving in this industry. And because of that, she actually starts to understand why Mii-chan is struggling so much. The next day, we see Mii-chan officially gets hired into the cabaret club, which some people are not happy about. Momoka immediately starts going off. She says that Mii-chan isn't cut out for this, she makes too many mistakes, and she should just quit. And then she hits Mii-chan with one of the most insane insults I think I've ever seen in a manga. She tells her she'd be better off putting dandelions on sashimi, which, girl, I'm from the US, I had no idea what that meant, but apparently it's Japanese slang for a meaningless job that basically anyone can do. So she's essentially saying, you're too incompetent for this job. And girl, you think Momoka is awful now? You have not seen anything yet. Mii-chan keeps trying to defend herself, but Momoka just won't shut the hell up. Then, that's when we get a really important flashback. We learn that Yamada has been here before, not as a hostess, but as someone constantly told she wasn't good enough. Her own mother criticized her intelligence growing up, so when she sees Mii-chan being humiliated, she steps in. She tells Momoka she's new. Anyone would struggle. Give her time. Then she turns to Mii-chan, smiles, and welcomes her. And, trigger warning, we're going to see a dead body, because the manga reminds you exactly where the story is heading. Mii-chan's demise. And that's chapter 1. Yeah, the manga is freaking dark. Like, really dark. But there's something that I noticed that the chapter doesn't spend its time trying to shock me. It spends its time showing me why Mii-chan is vulnerable. Every mistake she makes, every piece of personal information she gives away, it's building towards something. And because we already know she's going to die, every one of those moments suddenly feels so tragic instead of just frustrating. So I can absolutely understand why someone would read this first chapter and immediately think, this is just gonna be misery porn. But after finishing it, I wasn't ready to make that call just yet, so let's take a look at Chapter 2. Chapter 2 slows things down quite a bit. Instead of immediately focusing on the club, we actually get to spend some time with Yamada-san. We find out she's in college, but she honestly doesn't seem to care all that much. Her grades are slipping, she's constantly thinking about work, and her mom is blowing up her phone and sending letters because she's worried about her future. Honestly, girl, I'd probably be questioning my life choices too if I had to work in freaking kabukicho every night. And Yamada also explains something interesting. Most of the girls working at the club at least graduated high school. Some are in college, some are already looking for jobs. They've already had their own little friend groups, which makes Mii-chan stand out even more. And we meet Kokoro. She's a third-year university student, currently job hunting, and she works at the club on the side. She honestly seems pretty nice. At least for now. Then Mii-chan comes running over asking Kokoro to read her horoscope, which seems pretty harmless at first, until you realize she can't actually read it for herself. We learn that Mii-chan only has a junior high education and struggles to read kanji, which, bro, to be completely fair, how do y'all read kanji? I look at one sentence, my brain just goes, yeah, no freaking way, I ain't reading that crap. Sorry, I don't know how you guys do it, but anyway. Mii-chan asks what Yamada's reading. Yamada hands it over, and Mii-chan can't even read that either. Y'all, I'm gonna be honest, Yamada freaking pissed me off here. She says, something's wrong with you if you can't read basic kanji. Okay. Mii-chan explains that her mom never really encouraged her to read. She hated school because she was constantly bullied. And then she says a line that absolutely just devastated me. Just because I can't read kanji doesn't make me a moron, right? I can still do stuff. Girl, come here. Mii-chan, you're not dumb, sweetheart. You're not dumb. You just have a disability. And this was the moment I stopped seeing Mii-chan as just a comic relief. Up until now, she's been making mistake after mistake. Forgetting things, giving strangers her address, constantly messing up at work. But this line reminded me something. She's painfully aware of how other people see her. She knows people think she's stupid. She just wants someone, anyone, to believe she isn't. And honestly, I think that's something a lot of people can relate to. Let's go back to the story. Yamada immediately apologizes. Thankfully, because, girl, what the hell was that? You don't tell people that. And Kokoro offers to teach Mii-chan some basic kanji. Mii-chan gets super excited, and the two start studying together. Day 1, mistakes. Day 2, forgetting her homework. Day 3, more mistakes. Day 4, more mistakes. And honestly, this scene was frustrating, but I don't think it's frustrating because Mii-chan isn't trying. It's frustrating because she is trying. You can genuinely tell that she wants to learn. She just mentally cannot keep up. Eventually, Kokoro admits she's too busy with university to keep teaching her. And, I honestly feel bad for both of them. Kokoro isn't a trained teacher, and Mii-chan clearly needs much more support than she's able to provide. So it was just kind of inevitable. One thing I've noticed so far is that Mii-chan absolutely shuts down the second she feels like she's being scolded. She gets overwhelmed almost immediately, and at this point in the story, we don't really know why. But trust me, this becomes really important later. Even though the lessons stop, Yamada still reads Mii-chan's horoscope whenever she asks. It's a tiny gesture, but it's one of the first genuinely kind things someone consistently does for her. Then Mii-chan suddenly blurts out that she's been trying to learn how to read because she wanted to understand what Yamada was reading, because she wanted to become closer to her. And she says that she was really happy that Yamada stood up for her. Dude, she's just trying so hard, man. And because this manga refuses to let us be happy for too long, the chapter ends by reminding us this is only 11 months before her death. And this is where I think the manga starts separating itself from first impressions. Up until now, most of Mii-chan's problems have come from misunderstanding social situations. But now, we meet someone who's fully aware of those misunderstandings and decides to use them against her. I think you know where I'm going with this. We start off with Kokoro discovering that Mii-chan posted a selfie together working at the club onto the business Twitter account. And yeah, no crap, I'd be freaking out too. Because imagine you're trying to keep this job separate from your personal life, and then boom, suddenly your face is just on the internet. So Kokoro immediately panics that someone from her university or from her parents might see it. Momoka deletes the tweet, changes the account password, and because apparently this woman can't go 5 minutes without being an awful human being, she immediately starts calling Mii-chan a moron again. And at this point, I was still giving Momoka the benefit of doubt. You know, maybe she's just strict, maybe she's just frustrated, she's terrible at communicating, I don't freaking know. Mii-chan gets assigned to the +1 tables. Of course, Momoka volunteers to train her again, so... yeah, you know, this is gonna be great. This is gonna go amazing. So, the entire night, Momoka humiliates her. She insults her in front of customers. She encourages customers to quiz her on her kanji, knowing full well she can't freaking read. She forces her to drink, gets her drunk, and then allows customers to grope her. I just want to stop here for a second. Because I think scenes like this are why so many people write this manga off as exploitation. And honestly, I understand that reaction. Watching someone who's intellectually disabled get humiliated isn't easy. It's uncomfortable. It should be uncomfortable. But here's what stood out to me. The manga never presents this as exciting or funny or something we're supposed to enjoy. The camera, or in this case the manga panels, stay with Mii-chan's fear and confusion. The point isn't, look how shocking this is. It's, look how easily someone can abuse a person who doesn't understand what's happening. That's a very different message. Yamada eventually steps in and asks Momoka the obvious question, why the hell are you doing this? Momoka's answer genuinely made my stomach drop. She says, because it's fun.
So, my eyes are correct.
She likes making Mii-chan cry. She hopes she never quits and wants to keep watching her suffer. Yeah.
Did he just say?
He did.
Absolutely not. Oh my god. Yeah, this is why I despise her. And this part just hit me so personally because I know someone close to me that has a developmental disability and I'm incredibly protective of them. So seeing someone intentionally target a vulnerable person because they know they're not gonna fight back, just, oh my god. I am gonna go Gear 5 on your ass. I don't give a crap. I will go Gear 5 on you. I'm sorry, I'm getting kind of pissed, but people like this seriously piss me off. Then Kokoro joins the conversation, and honestly, this surprised me more than Momoka. I already know that Momoka was a freaking piece of crap, but Kokoro, like... No, she straight up says that she actually feels like seeing someone like Mii-chan makes her feel better about herself. Bro, what in the narcissistic hell? She says that her reasons are totally different from Momoka's, but Yamada immediately, like, thinks about it and just, like, kind of calls her out on her bullcrap. Like, do you seriously think that? And, you know, I think this is one of the most smartest moments of the chapter because Momoka is obvious that she's cruel. Everyone watching can recognize that, but Kokoro is harder to confront because she isn't openly abusive. She convinces herself that she's kinder, more reasonable, but still looks down on Mii-chan, who still measures her own worth against someone who's struggling. And I think that's a much more uncomfortable truth, because not everyone who hurts vulnerable people do it through violence. Sometimes it's through pity, sometimes it's through condescension, and sometimes it's by quietly deciding, at least I'm not like her. And I think the manga is asking us to examine that mindset too. So, after chapter 3, I understood why this series was so difficult to read, and not because it's trying to shock me, but because it's showing just how many different ways a vulnerable person can be failed, and unfortunately, the next chapter shows that even kindness can't completely protect Mii-chan. This chapter opens with Yamada and Mii-chan waiting for the bus after work. Yamada notices Mii-chan trying to log on to the club's Twitter, and yeah, no crap, she got locked out. And of course, Mamoka just asks She tells Mii-chan she's locked out, but refuses to explain why because girl, please, do you wake up every morning and think, how can I be the biggest alive? Like, seriously. Sorry for cussing. Anyway, thankfully, Yamada actually explains what happened. She reminds Mii-chan that posting personal information online can be incredibly dangerous. Most people working in nightlife don't tell others where they work. They separate their work life from their private life. At first, Mii-chan doesn't really understand why, so Yamada has to be blunt. She tells her, there are stalkers, there are dangerous people, and if you're not careful, you could end up getting killed. That's finally what makes it click. Mii-chan promises that she'll try to keep her information private from now on. And I actually appreciate this scene because whether every tip in the manga is perfect advice or not, I like that the story pauses to talk about basic personal safety. It's one of the few moments where the manga stops and says, hey, if you're in this kind of environment, please protect yourself. And considering where the story is eventually headed, yeah, this feels tragically important. The next day, Mii-chan gets a new cup, and it's a kid's cup. The manager gives it to her because she keeps accidentally breaking the regular glasses, which makes perfect practical sense, but emotionally, you can immediately tell it embarrasses her. Then Kokoro and Momoka start calling her special. Thankfully, one of the customers notices how upset she is. He asks Yamada, you're good at drawing, right? Why don't you decorate it for her? And girl, you can draw? Like, that is so freaking cute. She draws Mii-chan's name and little illustrations, personalizes the cup, and suddenly, Mii-chan is over the moon. She freaking loves it. And I love this scene because nothing about Mii-chan herself actually changed. She's still using the same cup. She still has the same disability. The only thing that changed was that someone treated her with dignity instead of embarrassment. And it's such a small act of kindness, but it completely changes how she feels. As time goes on, something unexpected happens. Mii-chan becomes surprisingly popular. The manager is excited. He admits he was worried about hiring her, but customers keep asking for her. And then one of the bartenders point out something. Most of the men requesting Mii-chan are, let's just say, Discord mod-looking lolicon ass MFers. For real. Like, body pillow collection of she looks really small, but she's actually like 1,000 years old type. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Then we get one final reveal. Yamada doesn't know it yet, but Mii-chan has started sleeping with the customers. She's telling them where she lives.
Excuse me, what's your—
Girl, please. Please don't do this. Oh my god. I know what's gonna happen to you, but this is agonizing. This sucks. And that's where I'm gonna leave part 1. And I know, I'm absolutely leaving you guys on a freaking cliffhanger, but I think this is the best way to break up the series, is going over it chapter by chapter. It gives us time to really sit with each section instead of rushing through 30 chapters into one video. So after these 4 chapters, what do I think? Well, I understand why this manga is controversial. It deals with disabilities, exploitation, grooming, emotional abuse, social isolation, and it's incredibly uncomfortable to read sometimes. But I don't think discomfort automatically makes something exploitative. At least not yet, so far. What I've seen is a story that's trying to show how someone like Mii-chan navigates a world that constantly misunderstands her, and sometimes takes advantage of her. Whether the manga continues to handle those ideas well, that's something I'm still figuring out. And honestly, I want to figure it out with you guys. So, in part 2, we'll cover chapters 5 through 10. And trust me, this story only gets heavier from here. If you've read the manga, let me know what you think. Did I miss something? Did you interpret a scene differently? I genuinely love to hear your guys' perspectives. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and please, stay safe.